continues the kirtan, so let us welcome Gauravani and ask kindred spirits.
We've been joined by so many wonderful chanters and musicians that one of our surprise guests, his name is Jagannath Kirtan. So he's a substitute chanter. He's an incredible musician and a wonderful person, and I'm sure you'll all appreciate his chant.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Sunyavadi Paschata Deshatari Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Dhyananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patithanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Namo Mahapadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratveshe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Deve Pranamami Hari Priye Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare I am so grateful to be with all of you on this very beautiful rainy morning in the Bahamas. Yesterday, we shared with you the narration from Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, one of the great biographies of Sri Caitanya, describing how he could transform a person's life in the role of a devotee in such a way, something like a surgery, trying to cleanse the false ego, the ahankar, could be very painful. But he did it with the anesthesia of his love, his compassion, his respect. So he could actually remove the false ego, and it feels good. There's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishayadi vinivartante niraharasya devina rasa varjamanasopyasya param trisvani vartate. Take away something that we cherish very dearly. It's very painful. But when we give something better in return, then it's not so painful. Sometimes I tell a personal story in this regard. I wrote this book called The Journey Home, which describes my searching for meaning, fulfillment, and spiritual truths in life. At the age of 19, I left home. I told my mother and father I would be leaving for 2.5 months between college semesters, and I would be back in time for the next college year. But I never came back. I ended up hitchhiking from London to India. And my parents were quite helpless about the whole thing. Because in the 1960s, teenagers considered it more or less a detail what your parents think about what you do. Although it ripped my heart up knowing how much they would be worrying. I was so foolish that I thought they would think I was really cool when I wrote to them from the deserts of Iran saying I'm hitchhiking to India and I'm alone. They didn't think it was cool at all. And I thought they would really be impressed when I wrote to them that I'm living in the jungles of the Himalayas, living in a cave. And I'm learning from the leopards and the snakes and the elephants and the scorpions. Oh, they were so broken-hearted. I remember my father, one of his best friends, was the best friends of this singer named Frank Sinatra. And this person's daughter went to India, and he wanted to get her back. So my father's friend said, I've already talked to Frank, and he's going to give us his private jet to go to India to find our children. And my father said, the last letter I got, he's listening to the songs of butterflies in a cave in the Himalayas. How are we going to possibly find them? It's no use. My father went to the Counselor General of India and showed him these letters. He says, you have to help me find my son. He says, he's in the Himalayan jungles. No way we can find him. So he was quite desperate. Now what to speak of my mother? You know, if I was late, if I was out past curfew, they would worry about me. In those days, curfew was a big thing. I was once put in jail because I was out at 10:15 at night. I didn't even do anything wrong. So that's how protected those days were from the parents' side, and how rebellious the days were for us. Anyways, in 1989, I went to India in 1970. But in 1989, my mother and father finally came to India to see what in the world this boy is doing. And their lives were completely transformed. I couldn't believe when I was leading a kirtan in Mumbai, and I saw my mother with another lady holding hands like this, twirling around, chanting the Maha Mantra. And then I saw my father, because we have an orphanage. He was dancing blissfully with all the orphan children. They were in a circle around him going like this, and he was going like this, chanting. And I was thinking, this is a miracle. Unbelievable. Anyways, one day I decided to take them on a little sightseeing tour. So we took a boat to an island called Elephanta. Have any of you ever heard or been to Elephanta? And we took a drone. It's been everywhere. You take a boat for about an hour or so, and then there's some, in those days, it was kind of a forest that you walk some paths, and then there was some old caves with sculptures of Shiva, yes? And these beautiful ancient sculptures of Lord Shiva, Murtis. So we were walking through the forest path. And I was thinking how nice they're getting to see the countryside, beautiful neem trees and banyan trees all along the pathway. Suddenly, mosquitoes started biting. My mother said, "What do we do about the mosquitoes?" "What do you do about mosquitoes?" I said, just enjoy the scenery, and the mosquitoes will sure enjoy you. Anyways, that wasn't so bad. But then, a very large size male monkey, brown fur, pink face, green eyes, jumped right in front of my mother and snarled. And my mother didn't know what to do. She froze. As she was standing, kind of like a statue, the monkey grabbed her purse. And he pulled, and she pulled, and he pulled, and she pulled, and they were pulling. And my mother was screaming. And my father said to me, "Everything of value is in that purse." He said, "Our passports, our visas, our airline tickets, all of our cash and our credit cards, for both of us, are in that purse." Monkeys have like an intuition to know where to get you. Not only, as far as physical, what you're attached to, but especially, how to defeat you. They know if they can make you afraid of them, then they conquer you. Fear. So he was pulling and she was pulling, and the monkey showed his teeth. They were really sharp fangs. He showed his teeth so much that his lip practically went into his nose. You could see his whole gums. And these teeth were kind of sparkling with sharpness. And he was looking at my mother with so much wrath. My mother was holding on to the purse. And I went to get a stick. But while I was coming with the stick, the monkey saw he only had a few minutes. He only had a few seconds. So he jumped right into my mother's face. And he really screeched. His eyes were with so much anger. And my mother could feel his breath in her nose, and she was afraid he was going to bite her nose off. And she screamed and fell back and let go of the purse, and the monkey was gone. He ran about a block away and climbed up a high tree and was sitting up in a branch, opening the purse. And monkeys, don't eat anything. They don't necessarily digest it, but just to give you a hard time, they'll chew on it to destroy it. One time I was in not one time, so many times. I was in Vrindavan and I left my shoes, these little rubber sandals, same ones exactly I have now. And the monkey came, and I came out, and he was on a rooftop eating my shoes. And ultimately he left the shoe, and there was a big bite out of it. I wore those shoes for about 3 years after that. Monkey Prasad. Anyways, the monkey was in the tree, and my mother and father looked at me. "What are you going to do about this? You brought us here." Because in those days, they didn't have these electrical tickets, airline tickets. And in 1989, the bureaucracy of India was so complicated and so slow for them to get their passports and their visas and their airline tickets and their credit cards and the cash was gone. The monkey was eating it. They looked at me. You are responsible. So in helpless situations, sometimes there's nothing you can do but pray. So I prayed. And then an idea came. When we offer a prayer, sometimes if it is sincere, especially if it's kind of helpless, things just unfold. And I happened to see a little distance away, there was a fruit vendor. He had a little push cart with some bananas on it. So I ran up to him, and I didn't know his language and he didn't know mine, but I asked him for one banana. And he saw that I was kind of in an urgent situation, so he asked for 1 rupee for 1 banana, which is a lot. But I didn't have any rupees. I had nothing. My mother didn't have anything. My father had nothing. The monkey had everything. So I was trying to bargain with him, but it was, I didn't know what was happening on that tree. So finally, I stole a banana. And he was really angry with me. He was yelling at me. And then some other fruit vendors started screaming at me, and I just left. I know the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal. But sometimes in an emergency situation, we do these things. So I took the banana, and I ran up to the tree, and I showed it to the monkey. The monkey looked at it. He acknowledged this banana. And by Krishna's grace, I'm not a good shot. I threw the banana up, and it was a little distance from the monkey, and so he had to reach. He had to kind of jump a little and reach to catch the banana, but in the process, he dropped the purse. Fell to the ground. Some things fell out of it. I ran, and everything was there, and I put it in the purse, and I went back and presented it to my mother. And I can honestly say, I have never in my life seen them so proud of me. Finally, I did something to really impress them. My father looked at me and said, that was very intelligent of you. And my mother pulled out she pulled out 10 rupees. And she said, give this to the fruit vendor. I forgot all about the fruit vendor. Mothers are mothers. They are very much details. They don't forget. So I ran and gave it to the fruit vendor. Oh, he saw 10 rupees for 1 banana. That was probably what he makes in a whole day. So the fruit vendor was happy. My mother was happy. My father was happy. I was happy. And the monkey was up there eating that banana, and he was so happy. So everyone was happy. Kind of one of those happily ever afters. So the moral to this story is, param drisvani vartate, that the mind is like a monkey. It's always looking for something, hankering for what we don't have, lamenting for what we've lost. We accept things that we think are going to give us happiness. We reject things that seem to impede that happiness. The mind is a thing of itself. I believe it was Emerson who said it can make heaven into hell or hell into heaven. So how to control this mind? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Krishna, you are teaching me this yoga of controlling the mind, but as far as I could see, it is more difficult to control the mind than controlling the raging wind. Here in Bahamas, I think you have hurricanes sometimes. What do you do when a hurricane comes? I remember some years ago, I saw in the news that a hurricane was coming toward Cape Kennedy, or Cape Canaveral, where all the rocket ships are and everything. And here, there are probably billions of dollars of investments in that place. And the U.S. Army and Navy and Air Force and Marines are all at hand. And all the technology and all the scientific nuclear bombs that we have. So with all of our strength and all of our scholarship and everything else, what was the decision made? They told everyone to evacuate. How do you fight a hurricane? All you can do is just take what you can and get out. Yes? Arjuna explains that controlling the mind is more difficult than controlling hurricanes. But then Krishna explains by constant practice and detachment, we can control this mind and senses. And in the path of bhakti, by giving the monkey of the mind a banana of something higher, then the mind won't cause trouble anymore because it's satisfied. Bhakti is to replace our bad habits with good habits. Why is the mind so much hankering and lamenting? The fundamental reason is anandamayo vyashat. Because every living being is by nature seeking pleasure. Why is that? Because the Atma, the living force, the soul within us, is Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. We need that bliss. It is our inherent nature. We can't really live without it. But when we forget who we really are and what the real happiness is we're seeking, due to the ahankar, the false ego, instead of identifying ourselves as parts of God, as divine beings, as Atmarama, completely self-satisfied, we're identifying ourselves with this mind and with this body, and we're trying to find that bliss, eternal, unlimited bliss through the things of this world. Dukalayana Shashvatam. The Gita explains the eternal cannot find lasting happiness in the temporary. We need something else. The teachings of Bhakti tell us that what we're really looking for is love, praying, and it is within us. The Purushartha Siromani, the Prem Nidhi, it's a treasure, an infinite pleasure. And when we taste that love within ourselves, when we taste the experience of seva, unselfish service to Bhagavan, to Krishna, to God, and to other living beings, that is such a higher experience than just the selfish groping to try to satisfy our mind and senses. So we described yesterday how Lord Caitanya, with the Digvijay Pandit, by giving him something higher, Digvijay Pandit gave up his egoistic, selfish ways. As far as being selfish, even though he was a scholar, he was like an academic tyrant. And he became humble and respectful to all. And then Lord Caitanya himself humbled himself before his guru to teach that this is a very sacred part of our spiritual development, is to honor our teachers. The Gita tells, Tad vidiprani patina pariprashnena sevaya upadekshati jnana jnaninastattvadarshana. That one should, if one wants to know the truth, one should approach a true guru, inquire submissively, and render service. Rendering service means applying the teachings to our life, integrating wisdom, our knowledge into our life. It is said that when we gain theoretical knowledge and then we put it into practice, it becomes wisdom, it becomes realization. And that realization transforms our whole consciousness from material to spiritual. Tad vijnanartham sugurum eva adhigacchati. This verse is from the Upanishads. It explains that the Vedas are so vast, and actually all the great scriptures are so vast. There are so many ways to interpret anything. And we see all the great religions of the world, there's so many divisions due to various interpretations. And when our ego is, when the knowledge is being filtered through our ego, then we interpret it according to what we want it to be. And that can be very, very dangerous. Therefore, to hear from self-realized, enlightened beings, especially those in parampara or disciplic successions of great saintly teachers who preserve the original message, is important. So the Lord accepted Ishvara Puri as his guru. And Ishvara Puri told him that my boy, Lord Caitanya was about 18 at the time. He said, in this age of Kali, the simple, most powerful way of cleansing the heart is the chanting of the names of Hari. And he quoted a particular verse. Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Gatiranyata. This age of quarrel and hypocrisy, this age of such spiritual laziness and some such mundane aggressiveness in people, a time where there's arrogance, there's depression, there's so many problems in the mind. People are willing to do anything and everything somehow or other to find some relief. Simply by chanting the name of Hari, one can attain the perfection of life. Go out and teach this message to the world. So Lord Nimai, at this point, when he returned to Navadvip, he was especially known as Gauranga because of his beautiful golden limbs. Gauranga returned and he attracted so many people's hearts. He had a simple message. He would go up to everyone, anyone, and sing, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Hota Nidra Jayo Maya Pisachira Kole. In the early mornings, he would approach people and say, wake up, wake up. You are sleeping in the lap of Maya. Mukunda Mara Yadava Hari. Just chant these beautiful names and wake up to who you really are and the happiness that you're really craving for and beyond. he gave this analogy. That we're sleeping. This ahankar makes us asleep to our real nature. Enlightenment is not about getting something from outside and bringing it into our life. It's simply about waking up. The soul is dreaming that I'm this physical body. The soul is dreaming that I'm this physical mind and intelligence. The soul is dreaming that I'm American or European or Indian or African, and all of these upadhis or designations. It's simply waking up. And this beautiful mantra or sound vibration is a tested, proved, effective, transcendental sound that wakes up our true potential. And he gave a simple teaching. Grihe tako, vane tako, sata hari bole tako, suke duke pulo nako, varne harinam korore. Whether you are in a family, as a mother or father, husband, wife, working a job, or whether you are a sannyasi, a swami, living in the forest, it doesn't make much difference. If you're just sincere and honest in your life and cleanse your heart by chanting God's names, you can attain the ultimate perfection. Beyond the happiness and distress, the pleasures and the pains, the honor and the dishonor, the successes and failures, the dualities of material existence, you can experience something so much deeper, so much higher, whoever you may be. And Lord Caitanya had two associates. We're going to speak more about them in days to come. But one was named Haridas, and one was named Nityananda. And the Lord said to Haridas and Nityananda, go to everyone and give this simple message. Give this message. Worship Krishna. Chant the names of Krishna. Think about Krishna. Krishna's your mother. Krishna's your father. Krishna's your real treasure in life. Krishna's your life and soul. And anyone who does this is my life and soul. So Nityananda and Haridas, he said, go out all day, everywhere, to people's homes. Don't try to force them, just humbly beg them to take God's names. So they would go to the bathing ghats, to the stores, to the homes, with tears in their eyes. We see how much you're suffering. We see your illusion. Just chant the names of the Lord. And there are many names of the Lord. One time they happened to see a large crowd. And Haridas and Nityananda asked someone in the crowd, who are those two people there? They were gigantic people. Two men. They said, that is Jagai and Madhai. They are wreaking fear in the whole city. They're so powerful, physically strong. They're so intelligent that even the government fears to come near them. There's nothing that they won't do for their selfish enjoyment. They are so envious and so selfish that they rape young ladies, they murder countless people, they break into people's houses, rob them, and then set their house on fire. They're constantly drunk on strong intoxicants. They find animals and just with their own hands they slaughter them and drink their blood and cook their meat and eat it. This is Jagai and Madhai. No one will even come near them. And Nityananda said to Haridas that our Lord Gauranga, Sri Caitanya, he told us to give this message to everyone without discrimination. Because everyone is a spirit soul. Everyone is a child of God. Everyone deserves this message. And if these people become gentle, humble devotees, what a great thing that will be for the world to see. So Nityananda approached them. And all the people in the crowd said, "You are crazy. Nobody approaches them. We're standing at a distance. If they even look at us, we'll run away." And Nityananda was smiling. And he went right up to Jagai and Madhai and said, "My dear brothers, please, whatever you've done in the past, it doesn't really matter. Just stop all that stuff and learn the beautiful art of Bhakti, unselfish seva, devotion, and chant the names of the Lord." This was such an insult to Jagai and Madhai that they screamed at Nityananda and said, "Kill him!" And they picked up some weapons and started running toward Nityananda. And Nityananda and Haridas were running away, and they were running, and he was running, and they were running, and they were running. Come back, Jagai and Madhai, I want to meet you face to face." And Haridas said to Nityananda, "Look at what you have done." He said, Nityananda said, "It's not me, it's our Lord, Gauranga. He's the one who told us to give this message." But they were faster runners. And they went back to Lord Gauranga and told him what happened. And he has to tell me about these people. And Sri Advaita, one of the very close associates of Lord Caitanya, when he heard this, he started laughing. He said, "It's common that people like to associate with people like themselves. Because Nityananda is so drunk with love of God, he likes to associate with other drunkards. But you will see that in the near future, these two people will be dancing and singing with us." Another day, Nityananda was walking through the town, and he happened to see Jagai and Madhai, who were actually searching for him. They felt so insulted by him. And Nityananda walked right up to them and gave them the same message with tears of compassion in his eyes. "You're my brother, whatever you've done. Here's the real inheritance of our father and mother. Prema Bhakti, divine love. Just take the names of the Lord." Madhai was so angry, he picked up a pot, a hard earthen pot, and with all of his might, all of his power, boom, he hit Nityananda right on the head with it, with the intent to kill him. There was a gash in Nityananda's head, and he was bleeding. The blood was pouring down his face onto his clothes. And Nityananda, with tears of compassion, he said, "My brother, I do not mind what you've done to me. That doesn't hurt so much. But seeing your illusion, seeing your sinful lifestyle, that is causing terrible pain to my heart. I forgive you for what you've done. Just take the names of Krishna and be happy." Oh, this was such an insult. Madhai again picked up a pot and was about to hit him, but his brother, Jagai, seeing Nityananda's forgiveness and his compassion, he grabbed his brother's arm and said, "You can't hit him. This man is a saint. You're trying to kill him, and he's your well-wisher. He loves us. Don't hurt him." But Madhai, "Get out of my way. I must punish him." Meanwhile, the news came to Lord Caitanya what was happening. And he ran to the scene. And up until this point, Sri Caitanya, he was playing the role of a very simple, humble devotee. But at this point, when he saw his beloved devotee Nityananda with blood all over his body, pleading with compassion for these men, and he saw that Madhai was about to try to kill him, Gauranga manifested his divine opulence, transcendental anger to protect an innocent devotee. He cried, "Chakra, chakra!" And at that point he lifted his hand and the Sudarshan chakra, the wheel of destruction, which is a weapon of Vishnu, appeared on his finger. And when Madhai saw this, he realized, I'm finished. And Nityananda, he said to Lord Caitanya, he said, please do not harm them. They don't know what they're doing. They're in illusion. If you kill them, you might as well kill everyone, because in this age of Kali, practically everyone is more or less like Jagai and Madhai. And Nityananda said, if I've done any devotional activities that have pleased you, I will trade in all my piety, all my seva, all my yoga, everything. I'll trade it all in for one thing. Just give kindness. Give love of God to Madhai. The Lord Caitanya was still seeing this person and knowing all that he had done. He was about to destroy him. And then Nityananda said, Jagai saved my life. He stopped him from hitting me again. And Lord Caitanya immediately caused the Sudarshan chakra to disappear. And with loving smile and tears in his eyes, he embraced Jagai. He protected my devotee. And when he embraced Jagai, all the sins, all the anarthas, the unwanted desires disappeared from Madhai. And he started crying in transcendental ecstasy. He had an effulgence in his body of an enlightened saint. And Madhai saw this. And he said, whatever I've done, he's done. So, I like this intoxication that you gave him. This is better than what we have. Give it to me too. And Gauranga said, you have caused blood from the body of Nityananda. Unless you get his forgiveness, you have to accept the reactions of whatever you have done. His heart changed, and Nityananda embraced him. And they were given a simple instruction. Whatever has been done in the past, it's all temporary. It's gone. Every evening we end our beautiful prayer session with this beautiful verse of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharanam Parityasya Mam Ekam Sharanam Praja Aham Tvam Sarva Papibhyo Moksha Ishavimasucha. Abandon all varieties of karma and just surrender. I shall protect you from all the sinful reactions that may have ever been in this life or all previous lives. There's nothing to fear. Now, in the material sense, surrender means defeat. It's something nobody wants to do. During a war, when America sent the atom bomb to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Japanese surrendered. But that's not very sweet. It's just they had no other choice. But in spiritual life, surrender, sharanagati, is the most positive, beautiful thing. What it is, it's surrendering our love, surrendering our wish to please, to give up the ego that's like a chain that keeps us bound birth after birth after birth to so many sufferings, pains, and illusions. Surrender is the most beautiful, sweet, positive action. Just give up what you've been doing and just do Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda told Jagai and Madhai. Just live in a life of seva, unselfish service to others, with morality, with ethics, with character, and chant God's names, and we will give you the highest perfection. And in an instant, you can be forgiven for all that you've done. It's a beautiful story, I'll end, but Madhai, the person who hit Nityananda on the head, some days later, Jagai and Madhai, they were dancing and singing in kirtan with all the devotees. And Lord Gauranga said, do not even consider what they've done in the past. Now they are pure. They have woken up to their original eternal nature. And Madhai came to Nityananda one day and said, I have committed so much pain to so many beings. You've given me this instruction. Chant God's name and be compassionate to others. That is the highest perfection of Dharma in this age of Kali. But I've caused so much pain to so many people, I don't even know who they are. I was so drunk. Nityananda said, do some seva. Build a bathing ghat, a place for people to bathe in the Ganges, and whoever comes, just serve them with great humility. And because of their seva, their service attitude, it was so sweet and so genuine and so pure, people's heart would melt and they would love them despite what they've done in the past. They understood that they've woken up from this terrible dream. But some people really were hurt by them, and they'd pick up a rock and throw it right at the head of Madhai. And Madhai would pick up the rock, and very humble, he would give it back to them. And he'd say, throw it again, I deserve more. And then even those people's hearts would melt, and they would embrace him. This is the power of transformation. This is the power of yoga. And this is one of the simple messages of Bhakti that Lord Gauranga has given to the world. Thank you very much.